Have they called you yet to say thanks? Well, they ought to. They've been using fancy cars that you own to tool around town and run up thousands of dollars in gasoline charges, also at your expense. Oh, you didn't know about that? And you have no idea who they are? News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker does know all about this. And when he's finished telling you what he has uncovered, you are not going to be happy. Brace yourself.
Is somebody going to be held accountable for what's happened here, Chief?
Absolutely.
You know, we have knuckleheads who are just behaving badly and not following the rules.
It's an entirely unacceptable, unapproved situation.
It's quitting time for Lucretia Rivera. When she calls it a day and heads home, Lucretia's behind the wheel of a Cadillac Escalade. She goes everywhere in this SUV, whether it's to and from her North Valley apartment or just tootling around town. But there's something wrong with this picture. You see, when Lucretia grabs the keys to the Escalade, she's up to no good. Whenever she wants a vehicle, she simply, quote, borrows one from this vast parking lot.
And it's not just Lucretia. Her co-workers all did the same thing. Now, these guys are not some high-profile corporate bigwigs, and this place is not Hertz Rent-A-Car. You see, Lucretia and her friends work at the Albuquerque Police Department's Vehicle Seizure Unit, and these cars were forfeited by drunk drivers. By taking home forfeited cars, APD's civilian employees violated practically every rule in the book.
We don't frankly know how long it's been going on.
If you're arrested for drunk driving, the police can impound and eventually seize your car. It's then sold at auction. That's the law. It's all part of Albuquerque's Get Tough on Drunk Driving campaign. For example, in 2011, Michael Baca was arrested for aggravated drunk driving following a hit-and-run accident. The police seized his Escalade, and a year later, a judge ordered it forfeited to the city. But instead of selling the SUV at auction as required, APD spent $7,000 repairing it, and then Lucretia Rivera grabbed the keys to drive it for her personal use, in direct violation of city policy. We met with Chief of Police Alan Banks prior to his retirement announcement.
Lucretia Rivera, who's the supervisor in the unit, was her use of that Escalade, was that by the book?
It was not. She took that vehicle without asking permission to take it and use it for her own personal use.
The city has a policy about take-home vehicles. Did she comply with that policy?
No, she did not.
In '08, the city seized this Ford Ranger from John Rust after his second drunk driving arrest. The truck was forfeited to the city. However, instead of selling it at auction, APD employees quietly kept it for themselves. In December, we caught Lucretia Rivera driving the truck around town and then taking it home in direct violation of the rules. Our investigation found Rivera, Anna Griego, and Kyle Evans all commandeering forfeited vehicles for their own use. That includes this Nissan, this GMC truck, and this Chevy pickup. Outside of APD, nobody noticed because employees covered it up by using untraceable license plates.
Where in the heck were they getting license plates for these forfeited cars?
These license plates are called skip plates. They're normally used for undercover vehicles. They should not have skip plates on their vehicles. These are government or city issued cars. They should have been equipped with government plates.
Why weren't they?
That's a good question. These vehicles are now equipped with government plates and no longer will be equipped with skip plates.
And when the employees went on their unauthorized joyrides, they did it at taxpayer expense. The city not only paid for the maintenance, but also the gas. Employees filled up at city gas pumps and then charged it to the police department. Nobody questioned the thousands of dollars charged by APD civilians driving pirated cars. Anna Griego's fuel tab last year exceeded $1,500. Kyle Evans hit up taxpayers more than $2,000. And last year, Lucretia Rivera's gas-guzzling Escalade set back the city $2,300. Now, once the APD brass found out Lucretia was taking taxpayers for a ride, her Escalade take-home privileges were revoked. She was ordered to move her personal belongings from the city-free ride to her own vehicle. And how does Lucretia explain what's happened? Well, she doesn't.
Lucretia, hi, I'm Larry Barker, Channel 13. How are you today? Lucretia, I want to ask you about the seized cars that you have been driving, taking home. Who told you you could do that?
They should not have had those vehicles, and taxpayers should not foot the bill for that gas.
So what do you do? Is somebody going to pay this money back?
That's something that we have to look into. Can't sit there and say that I'm going to hold these employees accountable and make them pay this money back. They no longer will have take-home vehicles, and we will look and make sure that we're doing everything right by what the city requires us to do.
Don Harris is an Albuquerque city councilor.
Where in the ordinance does it say that employees of the police department can use forfeited cars as take-home cars?
Oh, it doesn't say that anywhere. And in fact, I think the ordinance does not even allow the city to do anything other than sell these vehicles.
APD Sergeant Donovan Rivera supervises the department's seizure unit. Sergeant Rivera told us he did know employees were taking home forfeited cars, but he says it was going on long before he took over. And he says he did not know it was wrong. Chief Banks has now put a halt to the scheme and ordered an internal affairs investigation.
Well, that can't make you very happy with the supervisors who said it's okay to help yourself to forfeited cars and take them home.
Well, and ultimately it's my responsibility. When I came on in August, my responsibility is to make sure that this entire department is in compliance. And at that point is where I failed. And since this being brought to our attention, that has been changed.
Chief, I really appreciate your falling into sword for this and taking the blame for it, but in fact you were not the supervisor over this unit. Somebody screwed up, a supervisor, by giving permission for these employees to help themselves to forfeited cars, yes?
In a sense, I disagree with you. I am the supervisor. I'm a supervisor for everybody who works for the Albuquerque Police Department. Now, were protocols followed from the chain of command all the way up? The protocol wasn't followed from the chain of command all the way up.
Based upon what's been brought to our attention from you, we've opened up an investigation. That internal affairs investigation is looking at how long this practice has been going on. Could be years, many years, the severity of the violations, and it will involve administrative and disciplinary process up to and including termination if necessary.
The most important thing is the chief needs to take some action against these employees who are violating the public trust.
It's not going to be swept under the rug, and we will take care of it. My goal is that this never happens again. This is somewhat of an embarrassment to the department.
Do you think at this point, Chief, they get it?
They probably got it a week ago when they heard from me.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
As you heard, there is an APD internal affairs investigation to all this, and that could lead to administrative punishment. But despite all those gasoline charges, thousands and thousands of dollars, there apparently will not be any criminal investigation. We'll keep you posted.